Okay, so hello. I'm gonna jump right into it. So this is part 2 on how I met my husband. So we went to school. It's a college called Abraham Baldwin College. I think I messed it up, but everybody call it ABET in Tifton, Georgia. So we got to school, and he stayed on campus, and I didn't. My dad literally took me every morning. We had family that stayed close by, so on my short days, he would go over there and then come back and pick me up. And then on my long days, he would actually go home and come back. He worked a morning job and a night job, and he still drove me to Tifton. But I don't want to dive into my daddy right now. It's about my husband. So we was in school. Everything was going okay. I would meet him. He would meet me for class. He would after I had my class, he would be outside. He would carry my books. We would go eat lunch. We would hang out. It was fine. Then I say toward like the end of October, November, it started getting weird with him. Like, he was sort of standoffish. He would meet me sometime after class, and sometime he wouldn't. He would be there for lunch, and sometime he wouldn't. Like, it was like a weird vibe going on. But I was like, okay, it's because the original plan was for us to stay on campus, and of course I couldn't stay on campus because my parents wouldn't allow me to. Like, I'm under their roof. I was still only 17 years old. So I think that kind of played into it. So it had got to the point a couple weeks before it was time to register for spring semester. He got like real standoffish. Like, he wasn't meeting me. He wasn't answering my phone calls. We had pages back then. He wasn't answering my pages. Like, he just like was very standoffish. So one day, I will never forget this. So one day I was walking. We had to walk through the courtyard to get to lunch. And so I was walking through the courtyard. He was up there with a lot of other people. They were just standing around, you know, congregating or whatever, talking or whatever they was doing. And I walked up, and he literally, because I knew some of the people that was in the circle. And I walked up, and he literally stood there like he didn't know who I was. Like, he didn't say hey, he didn't say bye, he didn't say boo, he didn't say nothing. And so I'm like, okay, whatever. You know, I'm not finna stand here and look stupid. So I walked on to get me something to eat, and I sat there by myself, and I ate, and I waited on my dad to come pick me up, like, whatever. And it was just weirdness after weirdness after weirdness after weirdness. So I made up in my mind, well, I'm not coming back in. Plus, my daddy was like, look, you're going to have to do something. I'm not going to drive you back and forth to Tifton. Next semester, you can go somewhere close. So I said, okay, I apply for VSU. So I applied for VSU, and I got accepted. And that registration was on a Saturday, early Saturday morning. So I went, and I registered for class. So when we got back to school, I want to say over the Thanksgiving break, he was like, oh, when are you registering for class? I'm like, I'm not. He was like, you're not? I'm like, no, I'm going to VSU. Now, this whole time, I was telling him every day he was asking. He thought I was lying. I don't know what he thought. So when it came to registration day, he had his paper, and he was like, oh, what class are you registered for? I said, I'm not registering. I'm going to VSU. He's like, what? I said, I'm going to VSU. Like, it's not a game, it's not a joke. I'm going to VSU. So he stopped off. I went home, whatever. So right before Christmas break, I was in the computer lab waiting on my dad to come pick me up, and he walked in there with his little book bag on his back and walked straight back. He ain't speak or nothing. I know he saw me, okay? He walked straight back to the back. And at that time, it was Yahoo Messenger, AOL Messenger, stuff like that. So he sent me a message on Yahoo. Like, he walked past me. So he sent me a message. He was like, are you for real? Like, you going to VSU? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to VSU. I'm not staying here. You're not paying me no attention. My dad is tired of coming up and down the road. I can't stay on campus. So I'm going to VSU. Like, I've been trying to tell you this. I'm going to VSU. So he was like, well, if you go to VSU, then I guess we done. I'm like, okay, I guess we done. Then he got his book. He got up, and he walked out. And I was like, are you serious? Like, that was it. That was it. So I left that day, still trying to contact him. He was not responding or whatever. I'm like, look, I'm not finna chase no dude. Like, I don't have to chase a dude. Like, no. So that was that. Like, that's how it ended. It ended right before Christmas break. Even though we stayed in the same city, I did not see him. Like, because my life was work, church, and school. I don't go nowhere. If I went somewhere, I went to the mall, whatever, but we never intertwined. Like, I never saw him at all, period. But I was so heartbroken. Like, I got home, I wasn't eating. What's wrong with you? She thought I was pregnant, y'all. My mom thought I was pregnant. I'm like, really? I ain't even did nothing to get pregnant, for real. But she didn't know what to do with me. I was so heartbroken. And then finally, after like, I think like a week or 2 weeks or so, I got over him, like, whatever, you know, I guess it wasn't meant to be. We keep pushing. So I started VSU, and literally, dudes, I'm like, oh, I just got a long relationship. Like, I'm old at the time. I just got a long relationship. I don't want to be nobody. You know, I didn't want to talk to. I ain't talk to nobody. I went specifically for school. That's it. So I went to VSU. He continued to go to ABEC. And then somehow in that second semester, me being at VSU, I walk in the grill, which I don't even know if it's still called the grill no more, but, and he behind the counter cooking. I didn't even know he had transferred to VSU, y'all, at all. But we took separate classes. Like, I was a business major. At the time, I think he was general studies, so I don't know if he changed it or not, but my class was centered around business. And he didn't see me, but I saw him, and I politely heard he got my stuff. I don't think I even bought nothing. I saw him behind the grill, and I walked out. I didn't, like, want to face him and want to see him. So that's the end of part 2. Stick around for part 3, and I'm going to talk about how we got reconnected, and then we'll move on from there. It's a long story, y'all. We're married 22 years. Okay, bye.